Hey guys, it's Joey Gaming. I was gonna record this video yesterday, but however, I had some audio issues. But luckily, I fixed it. It was actually a pretty simple fix. I don't know why I didn't think about that last night when I initially was making this video. But anyways, guys, today a bunch of idiots are claiming that 5G internet is causing the coronavirus. Okay. Some people are saying I shouldn't say the coronavirus or the C word because YouTube's gonna demonetize me. The thing is, YouTube doesn't pay me yet, so I'm gonna say coronavirus for quite a while because I don't have ads on my channel yet. So that's why I'm saying coronavirus on this channel, because I don't get money from it yet. So that's why I'm still saying coronavirus, even though it's kind of a bad word, a naughty word on YouTube. But anyways, guys, yeah, a bunch of idiots are saying that the coronavirus was caused by 5G internet, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's at the level of it's at the level of vaccines causing autism and the flat earth theory, and those two are stupid. I can make videos on both of those two. Yeah, so I got this video from like a professor, probably not a professor because he's dumb, or something like that. This video, I'm gonna take a look at this video and give you guys my thoughts about it and expose this guy's bullcrap. So let's get straight into it.
In 1918, after the biggest pandemic, the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, Steiner was asked, what was this all about? And he said, well, viruses are simply excretions of a toxic cell. Viruses are pieces of DNA or RNA with a few other proteins. They bud out from the cell. They happen when the cell is poisoned. They are not the cause of anything. And the cells get poisoned. They try to purify themselves by excreting debris, which we call viruses. If you go to the current theory of viruses called exosomes, and the latest head of the NIH giving a talk on the complexity of viruses, you will see this is perfectly in line with the current thinking on what a virus really is.
Viruses don't work like that exactly. A virus is basically like a little bug, a little living thing. Well, well, that's a debated topic, if viruses are a living thing or not. When a virus infects a cell, it hijacks it and creates more viruses, and the cell explodes. You mentioned that the cell explodes, but you said that the cell does that so it can quarantine itself, or what's the word? Basically purify itself. There's the word, purify itself. That's not 100% true. Viruses, what they do, they hijack the cell. They create more virus. They make a bunch of virus. The whole cell will be covered in viruses, basically, and the cell will basically explode, releasing a bunch of other viruses, and the virus infects other cells, spreading the virus. Some viruses are harmless and some are harmful. So also, I don't really call the virus part, all that stuff, poisoning, because the viruses are not poisoning. They're like hijacking a cell, a host's cells, basically. So yeah.
Pandemic in the last 150 years, there was a quantum leap in the electrification of the Earth. In 1918, late fall of 1917, there was the introduction of radio waves around the world. Whenever you expose any biological system to a new electromagnetic field, you poison it, you kill some, and the rest go into a kind of suspended animation, so that, interestingly, they live a little bit longer and sicker. And then starts in World War II with the next pandemic, with the introduction of radar equipment all over the Earth, blanketing the entire Earth in radar fields. First time humans have ever been exposed to that. In 1968, there was the Hong Kong flu, and it was the first time the Earth has a protective layer in the Van Allen belt, which essentially integrates the cosmic fields from the sun and the Earth, from the moon and Jupiter, etc., integrates that and essentially distributes that to the living beings of the Earth. And we put satellites emitting radioactive frequencies in the Van Allen belt. Within 6 months, we had a new viral pandemic.
Okay, I see what you're talking about, but there's some logic that is flawed. Viruses spread by all types of ways. All right, it could be airborne, or it could be contact based, or something like that, or something. But viruses do not spread through radio waves. There's no way. Radio waves can't create viruses or transfer viruses. There's no way. Well, I guess they can if you count computer viruses, because if you go and download something and the internet is kind of a radio wave or whatever, I guess you can get computer viruses, but biological viruses, no, that can't happen. Radio waves cannot transfer viruses. But you could say, okay, what about radio waves just making people sick? Good question. Okay, so in World War II, when there was a new virus spreading around, or pandemic or whatever was going on during World War II, we had radars. Japan had radars, the US had radars, and Germany had radars, and that got people sick, okay? If that's true, then why are people still not getting sick because of radars? Why are people now still not getting radars? Back then, the radars are way crappier than the ones that we have now, okay? Why are more people not getting sick? You could argue saying that we evolved and we got used to it and we're no longer that sick because of this thing. Also, satellite, it's the same way with satellites and stuff, okay? There's no way you can get sick from a radio wave, okay? To be honest, dude, we get exposed to different types of radio waves every day, and most of them are completely harmless. We get rays from the sun, we get rays from our phones, we get rays from basically everywhere, and we're not sick all the time, okay? So let's continue on with this argument.
Why viral? Because the people are poisoned, they excrete toxins, they look like viruses. People think it's a flu epidemic. In the 1918 epidemic, the Boston Health Department decided to investigate the contagiousness of this. So they, believe it or not, took hundreds of people with the flu and they sucked the snot out of their nose and injected it into the healthy people who didn't have the flu, and not one time could they make the next person sick. They did this over and over again, and they were not able to demonstrate contagion. They even did it with horses who apparently got the Spanish flu, and they put bags over their head, and the horses sneezed in the bag, and they put the bag over the next horse, and not one horse got sick. You can read about this in a book called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg, who chronicles all the steps in the electrification of the Earth and how within 6 months there was a new flu pandemic all over the world.
I'm going to call BS on all that stuff that you just said about people getting the snot of sick people and injecting it into other people and horses and them not getting sick. That is completely bogus, okay? I can tell, all right? I got sick. My family has been sick, and if one of us gets sick in my house, and then there's a good chance I'm going to get sick, okay? I have transferred diseases to my parents. My parents have transferred viruses to me as well. It happens, okay? I have no idea what type of crack you're smoking, but whatever it is, I would like some. Also, I do not promote the use of drugs, kid. I should not have said that, but whatever, guys. Let's continue on.
And when you hear the normal explanations, how did it go from Kansas to South Africa in 2 weeks? So the entire world got the symptoms at the same time, in spite of the fact that the mode of transportation was horseback and boats, and there's no explanation for it. They just say, we don't know how that happened. But when you think about it, with these radio waves and other frequencies that some of you have in your pocket and on your wrist, you can send a signal to Japan and it arrives instantaneously. So any of you who don't believe there is an electromagnetic field that communicates globally within seconds just is not paying attention to this. And I will only finish by pointing out that there has been a dramatic and quantum leap in the last 6 months with the electrification of the Earth. And I'm sure a lot of you know what that is. It's called 5G, where they now have 20,000 radiation-emitting satellites, just like the radiation-emitting thing in your pocket and on your wrist and that you use all the time.
Okay, so first, air travel can be responsible for making the virus spread fast. Like, look at the coronavirus right now. It's been spreading fast because of air travel and a few other forms of transportation. Another reason the Spanish flu has spread really fast is I'm not 100% sure about this, but it's spread through it could also spread through people who are not showing symptoms yet. Like, you can have the virus, but you can also spread it, like similar to the coronavirus. But I'm not really sure about that. But yeah, I'm not really sure, and I'm too lazy to fact check it if that's true or not. So yeah. And also, 5G is also one of the greatest things in history. It's great internet. I don't have it in my area yet, but I think I will. I live in Idaho, and I don't think there's 5G towers in Idaho yet. But I'm just sitting here with 4G, but it's fine. But 5G is the greatest thing ever, though. So, and I can't wait to get it.
That is not compatible with health. I'm sorry to say it. It's not compatible with health. That is a water destructuring device. And for any of you who say, yeah, well, we're not electrical beings, we're just physical matter, then don't bother doing an EKG or an EEG or a nerve conduction test, because we are electrical beings and the chemicals are only the byproduct of those electrical impulses. And I'll finish with, anybody want to make one guess as to where the first completely blanketed 5G city in the world was? Exactly. But this is something that is unprecedented. The putting of 100,000 satellites in the very blanket of the Earth. And by the way, as I was going to say earlier, this actually has something to do with the vaccine question, and this got brought home to me because about a year ago or so, I had a patient who came in who was totally fine, a surfer and all, and then he works as an electrician putting in Wi-Fi systems for very wealthy people. Electricians have a very high mortality rate, but he was fine. And then he breaks his arm and he gets a metal plate put in his arm. 3 months later, he couldn't get out of bed and was total, heart irregularities, just total collapse.
Okay, here comes the argument that 5G is actually causing the coronavirus. First of all, Wuhan, China, whatever you pronounce it, was not the first city to have 5G internet, okay? That was like England and the United States when 5G, way before China had 5G, okay? 5G was in the US and in the UK for much longer than China had it in Wuhan. And also Wuhan is also a very technical country. They have a lot of technologies that they're making and developing and stuff over there. So also think about this way. when we created 3G, 4G, and all that internet type stuff, 2G, 3G, and 4G internet, why did viruses not appear when we had those type of services up? Like, explain that to me. Why is there no virus pandemics that happened because of 4G or 3G? Like, this argument is like completely stupid.
The susceptibility has to do with how much metal you have in your body, as well as the quality of the water in your cells. So if you start injecting aluminum in people, they become receptors for absorbing increased electromagnetic fields, and that is a perfect storm for the kind of deterioration of the species, which is what we're now experiencing. And I'm just going to finish with one more thing, which I like too, is a quote from Rudolf Steiner. And by the way, this was around 1917. In times when there were no electrical currents, when the air was not swarming with electrical influences, we're talking 1917, it was easier to be human. For this reason, in order to be human at all today, it is necessary to expend much stronger spiritual capacities than was necessary a century ago. So I'll just leave you with whatever you can do to increase.
Okay, so you kind of exposed yourself there. He's saying that if you have more metal, the more likely you're gonna get the coronavirus because you're more of an acceptor. That is completely stupid. Not much people have much metal in them. Sure, we have a little bit of iron in our blood cells, and yes, it can be magnetized and stuff, but that's still a low amount of iron and metal inside of us. And people who do have like metal limbs and stuff, you don't see that many people dying from the coronavirus, but you see like elderly people dying, and they don't have much metal inside them too. So this argument has come like completely stupid. Okay, like, long story short, if you believe that 5G causes the coronavirus, then you probably believe that vaccines cause autism. Okay, and you're probably a very stupid human being. And also, please stop destroying 5G towers, because I know some people are destroying 5G towers over this video. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Living that 5G life. Signing out. Peace.